So the next question. The question is under data interpretation. The question is A, B, C, D and E are 5 persons employed to complete a job X. Line graph shows the data regarding time taken by these persons to complete the job X. So here is a line graph attached to this data. So we have in the x-axis 5 persons A, B, C, D, E, and the y-axis number of days, so which each person took to do this job X when they worked alone. So with this we have a table. So this table below shows the actual time for which every one of them worked on the job X. So we have the persons A, B, C, D, E. So A worked for 2 days. So B and D data is not given, so that will be given instantly in the question itself. C worked for 3 days and E worked for 2 days. So this question is taken from SBI PO Mains, June 4, 2017. So friends, you can see here, so almost all the questions for SBI PO, so they give only in data interpretation. So now this data interpretation question, so it's based on this miscellaneous concept. So almost most of the data interpretation questions they have given based on this miscellaneous topics such as men and work, time and distance, profit and loss. So here we have a question for this SBI PO, so which they have asked this data interpretation based on this men and work concept. So with this data, we have to answer the following 5 questions. So first, with this data, just I'll explain the question to you. So here there are 5 persons, A, B, C, D and E, and they are completing a job X. So A takes 10 days to complete the job, B takes 12 days, C 15 days, D 18 days and E 20 days. So with this we have a table. So in this, the actual time which they have worked on that job is given. And now we have questions followed, 5 questions based on this. So before working these questions, so just we will make our work convenient by assuming some value as work. So now we'll see the working part. So here we have 5 persons, A, B, C, D and E. So time taken by A, so I'll write in the suffix part. So this is time taken by A to complete the job, B, C, D and E. So now when working on the details, so when they ask what is time taken by A, B together, we can't add this time 10 and 12 because more men it is less time, so which varies inversely. So when we convert all this time taken to work, so then you can add the data, subtract whatever is needed, to our convenience we can proceed. So to proceed with, so we'll take LCM of all this time taken as assumed work. So LCM of 10, 12, 15, 18 and 20. So to find LCM, take the higher number, check the multiples of that number, see whether other numbers are factors. So in this way we can find LCM, so that you would have seen in earlier explanations, earlier topics. So now LCM for all these factors is 180. So this is an assumed work. So I'll assume that the job X is making 180 toys. So for our convenience, I have converted all this time. I have taken LCM and assumed work is LCM of all these values. So job X is making 180 toys. So now according to this assumption, we'll see how much work, how many toys all these individual persons have done based on this time taken. So as the data is given in days, so I'll check in 1 day how many toys A can make. So if work is 180 toys and if A can do that in 10 days, So dividing by 10, so we get A is doing 18 toys per day. So this assumed work, you can assume any value as assumed work. Suppose if I take as 100 for our convenience. So in one day 100 by 10, so we'll get 10 toys made by A. Suppose when you are working for B, so 100 toys by 12, so it will be a decimal. So for our convenience we are proceeding. So to get all the values as integers, I am taking time taken as LCM of time taken as assumed work. So now based on this, so per day 180 by 12, we can make 15 toys. C makes 180 by 15, 12 toys. D can make 10. And E makes 9 toys. So having this data for reference, we'll work out all the questions and you can see how easily we can arrive at the answer by assuming some value as work and that too LCM of time taken as assumed work. So now based on this data, we'll answer the question. So we'll see the question. So this question number 5. The question is, A and C worked on job X working alternately for 10 days. B and D then worked together for K days. So if 1 by 36 of the job still remain unfinished, so then find the value of K. So now you can see how easily with this data we can proceed with. So now you can visualize the question on this number line. So A and C are working alternately for 10 days. So A and C for 10 days they are working. And then B and D together, so BD together they work for K days. And still 1 by 36 of the work is left. So we have assumed work as 180. What is 1 by 36 of 180? So it is 5 times. So after this A, C, B and D have worked, still 5 toys have to be done. So now with this work done, so we'll see how much work is done by A, C and then we'll find what is value of K. So as they have given A and C are working alternately for 10 days, it means that A works for 5 days, C works for 5 days. So per day A can make 18 toys in 5 days. So A has made 90 toys. So in 5 days, per day 12. So A and C in this 10 days, we have A's 5 days work, C's 5 days work, total they have made 150 toys. So out of this 180, 150 is done by AC, so remaining is 30. So in this 30, B and D had worked for K days, still 5 toys remain. So I'll subtract this 5 also. So we get 25 toys. So B and D have worked for K days and they have done this 25 toys. So now we need to know together B and D for how many days they have worked. Now seeing with the data, so we need for B. B in 1 day, he can make 15 toys. And D in 1 day. So if B and D work together, per day they can make 25 toys. So this remaining 25 toys is done by B and D together in K days. So when you check for 1 day, they can make 25. Which means that B and D together, they have worked for 1 day. So we need to find time taken by B and D working together, which is value of K. So K is 1. So according to this question, so A and C's alternate 10 days, we have 150 toys. So in this 150, in this 180, 150 is done by A and C. Remaining 30. In that 30, after B and D work too, we have 5 toys left. So this 25 toys had to be done by B and D in K days. So per day B can do 15 and D can do 10. So in one day they can do 25, which means BD have worked only for one day and they have done this 25 toil. So value of K is 1. So now with the same data, we'll see how to work out the next question.